Well, I was looking at some information about the Grand Canyon today. I noticed that, according to the scientists, the rate of erosion of the Grand Canyon is about 1 foot every 200 years. And then I figured out that that would be over 1,000,000 years, about a mile of erosion. And then I noticed that the earliest dating for the Grand Canyon is 7 million years, and many people think it's as old as 70 million years. Now, of course, I'm wondering now if in 5 million years we would have a 5 mile erosion. Why is there anything left of the Grand Canyon at all? It's one of those things where we make assumptions, and then sometimes information comes in that doesn't quite fit with our assumptions, and that happens a lot in the times we don't really know what happened. We weren't there at many of the events that we talk about and assume about the origins of the earth. We've talked about creation of man, and can you prove it? Well, we weren't there. Kind of hard to prove. On the other hand, the assumptions we make about early man may not be as accurate as we think either. For example, Adam was in Genesis chapter 2. It says in the picture we're presented that God created all the animals and had Adam name them. And well, if we go to species of land animals today, we have about 8 million. And I don't think that's what it means. I think the animals that Adam would normally see or interact with would be the ones that he named, obviously. But at the same time, let's say there were, we could say as many as 10,000, but let's cut it down all the way to 1,000. Let's imagine us. We give names to 1,000 animals today, and we don't write them down. What's the chances of us remembering them all tomorrow? I believe it's an evidence of our declining ability, declining intellect, although the assumptions we make in our modern anthropological science is that we have increased in our intellectual ability over the years as man. It's a standard evolutionary assumption that we keep getting better. I don't know, if you look at the world, you got to wonder, are we really getting better or not? But we make assumptions about early civilization. We talk about cavemen, early man, all this stuff. But when you go to actually trying to figure out the real history, you go 10 or 15,000 years BC, you're not going to find too much as far as civilization is concerned. And then we talk about how, of course, we assume went from hunter-gatherers to agriculturists, they made cities, blah, blah, blah. But what if it was different? We talk about being so brilliant that man got to the creation of writing. What if, prior to the invention of writing in the attributed to the Sumerian kingdom, what if before that time mankind had far greater intellectual power than we have now? After all, I mean, even back in the Egyptian times, we're still trying to figure out how the pyramids were built and how they had such a good astrological alignment when many people assume those were flat earth days. It doesn't seem to match with what the early Egyptians knew. But say, if earlier to creation, closer to Adam, you had this greater intellect, say you had a 100% photographic memory. You never forgot anything. And say, if you never forgot anything, what is the need to write anything down? Say if you had a mind as quick as a calculator, there's a lot of things you could do. Now, we have advanced in our knowledge primarily because of the ability to accumulate our knowledge and combine it with technology, which is an after effect of getting enough population to have an industrial age, be able to have manufacturing to the degree we have, and then as we accumulate our knowledge, we're able to fine-tune it and make some amazing electronic inventions which we're all using today. And we assume the early man did not have the intelligence to do that. Well, maybe there was just no means to do that at that time. If you think that assume that writing was a great advance. On the other hand, maybe you could assume writing was a decline in man's power, and they had to start writing things down to remember it. Much of the early history was oral history. Much oral history even before the existence of writing or the widespread use of writing. And that oral history depends on really, really good memory to repeat exactly what you heard and repeat it exactly what you heard and say it exactly right. So when it comes to assumptions, I like to speculate a bit on, well, what if it was the other way around rather than the way we see it now? But anyway, that's my thoughts for today. Thanks for listening.